Imagine uprooting your life, not for a better salary, but just for a chance at a job, a chance at security, a future for your child, a new beginning in a new country. And what if that chance came with a 6-figure price tag? And then when you realize what's happened to you, when you ask to be paid back, they tell you, sorry, you were an investor and you are not getting your money back. So as always, this is a case published by Employment New Zealand, and if you're keen, I've linked it in the description, the full judgment below, 45 pages, this one. So I'm covering it in this video in regular English, right, with a focus on some of the crucial details to help us learn, not all of it. So this is commentary. This is not legal advice. So if you're in a similar mess, check the judgment and talk to someone about it. In this case, the Labour Inspectorate would be a great start, so I'll list the contact details on the screen. And I'm not here to accuse anyone of anything. I'm here to enlighten and learn alongside everybody else. Who are we dealing with here? There's this worker. He's a specialised chef. He makes great food. He's never been overseas. He speaks with his hands more than he does with words, right? So very little English, very trusting person. Then on the other hand, we have this couple, and we'll call them the hosts. So they're New Zealand based, they're residents, they're business owners, they know the system, the rules, the back doors and the grey zones. Their pitch was simple. Come to New Zealand, everything's great here, land of opportunity. Come and work in our cool restaurant, we'll give you a job, we'll help you with your visa, and this way your child gets this really first-class schooling and your life changes. And to him, of course, it sounded like this wonderful chance worth taking, but it came with a catch, a premium, not a bribe exactly. So he was told, it's just how things are done here with chefs in New Zealand. So he believed them, and so he paid. First $30,000, then another $30,000, and then another $30,000. So he paid for some restaurant equipment as well. He trusted them because they knew some people in his family and they seemed to know their staff, and they kept giving him all of this good advice. Altogether, he paid $117,000 before he even started his job. Then he arrived, excited about making a blazing success of this beautiful restaurant, worked long hours, no days off, endless prep, no other staff, no breaks, and his employment agreement said 40 hours a week. But of course, those pans didn't stop sizzling for sometimes over 80 hours a week. And the pay didn't match the hours. His dreams started looking a bit shaky. He became exhausted. He was working just about 24/7. So he decided to speak up. Gently at first, he sort of sent a text message here. He was doing some quiet asking over there. But instead of answers, they then flipped the story on him. And suddenly he was told, dude, you're not an employee. You're a shareholder. And suddenly this job he paid to get became this company he didn't know he owned. And of course, no records at the company's office anywhere. So he was confused, he was disillusioned, he was exhausted, so he left. And then the moment he did that and he asked for his money back, everything else shifted as well. Suddenly there was a police report with some stupid allegations and threats of deportation. This poor man, he had no records, he had no pay slips, and he had just his memory and this fire in his belly that wouldn't go out. Have you ever trusted someone like this? Like, only you realize later that what you agreed to is not quite what you thought? Like, would you risk everything, your money, your dignity, your immigration status, to fight something you believe is right? Well, this guy took them all the way. I think they messed with the wrong person. They're at the ERA. What did the ERA make of all of this mess? The authority had to untangle massive amounts of fiction from fact here. There were over 1,000 chat messages alone. Very few wage records, very few leave records. So they looked through everything. There were lots of letters and whatnot. And they found the so-called investment was a premium, a price paid for a job. It's illegal in New Zealand. He wasn't a shareholder. He was a worker. There were no dividends. He had no voting or controlling rights in this business. He just had all these long hours and this underpayment. He was owed wages, holiday pay, and of course compensation for the way it all ended. And of course the ERA saw that this couple ran the show. They orchestrated the payments. They facilitated everything. And together they really gamed the system. They exploited him and the law. After much questioning, the ERA was satisfied that this guy was just that. He was just a worker wanting to make a good life for his family in New Zealand. So what was the outcome? That restaurant, obviously, long closed, and that worker vindicated, right? In a beautiful way. He was awarded over $250,000 of unpaid wages, holiday pay, illegal premiums, interest, penalties, and of course compensation. And those hosts, they were ordered to pay up. They were personally liable if their company couldn't pay. They had to pay the Crown an extra $44,000 as well, so all up a bloody hefty bill of $295,000. And sometimes justice just adds up the hours and the dollars and then signs a big fat check. If you are dealing with a tough process like this at work, and if you're feeling a little bit lost, I can support you. I can guide you. I can let you know what you need to do next. So jump into the link in the description, book a session with me, and we can work it out together. Back to the video. So what do we learn from this story? It isn't just a story about justice catching up with two bad actors. It's knowing about your rights, even when the power balance feels impossible. If you're a migrant worker and you have been told to pay to get your job, or if you're working ridiculously long hours for very little pay with no records and no agreements, you don't have to stay silent. Please don't. If you have the money and you can take legal action, then go ahead and do that. But if you don't, you still have options, because the Labour Inspectorate in New Zealand is there for exactly this reason. You can contact them confidentially. You don't need a lawyer. You just need the courage to speak up about your situation. So don't wait until it's too late, please. Because exploitation is not okay in New Zealand. I've put a link below for the Labour Inspectorate. Please use it. Okay, so here we are. A man who paid a massive price for a job only to be told that he wasn't really an employee and he wasn't really a shareholder. Bloody hell, talk about confusing. So in the end, the Employment Relations Authority saw through all of that. But here's the thing, for every story like this that makes it into the system for us, there are so many that never do. Who do you know that this has happened to, and what did they do about it? Drop it in the comments for us. But like always, no details please, we don't want any drama. These are just the stories we want to learn from without starting any new legal fires. Okay? I'm thinking of you if you're going through something tough, and I'll see you next time.